Welcome, my fabulous diamond painting fanatics. I'm DiDi, and thanks for joining me for today's drill with me. Yay, we missed last week, and I'm so sorry, but I was in Scotland. And at that point, I was in Isle of Skye, and the reception sucked. There's nothing else to say about that, but it was horrible. To the extent that I was very happy we decided to get a car with SatNav. So for today's drill with me, we're gonna work on the confetti elephant. I'm almost done and it's looking great. I hoped that I would have it finished before I went on a holiday, but that didn't happen because of work and packing and such. And yeah, it's fair to say that I was a bit stressed out before I went on my holiday. Not the best way to start, but oh well, oh well. And I know I said that I might do another video about all the things, the glossary from the House of God, the book. I still might do that, but today we're gonna talk about my vacation and all the other fun stuff that happened in the last 2 weeks, because a lot has happened. And let's start off with, we won the Eurovision Song Contest. And if you don't know what it is, in Europe for 65 years now, I think, something like that, we hold the Eurovision Song Contest. And it started out as a novelty, where multiple countries actually showed the same show live on TV, and every country has their own song that they perform, and you can vote. In the beginning, it was just with judges that voted, and now the public votes as well. And to be quite honest, we were on a horrible streak. The last time we won was 44 years ago. And then we had 8 years that we didn't even qualify for the final. We bumped out in the semifinals. And yes, nobody really thought that we would ever win again. There was talk about not joining, not doing it anymore, because the way the judging was done, you can tell which countries are going to give big points to which country. So we know that Cyprus is always going to give 12 points to Greece, and Greece is always going to give 12 points to Cyprus. No matter what, it always happens. And the same with some of the Eastern European countries. Russia would always get a lot of points from the former Soviet states. So yeah, it was tricky to get qualified. And then a couple of years ago, we decided to send one of our biggest singers, Anouk, and she performed a wonderful song. And since then, we qualified all but once, and we actually came in the top 10 a couple of times as well. So we really stepped it up. We were getting better, and this year we were all so surprised because we sent someone that wasn't famous, not well known. Duncan Lawrence just graduated from musical school, and he sang a song that wasn't typical Eurovision. It wasn't typical, and we were all a bit in doubt. I must say that I loved the song. I really loved the song, but yeah, it wasn't typical. And I wasn't really sure how it was gonna resonate with the rest of the countries. And then the rumors started going that in the booking, the bookies had us that first as winners for this year. And I couldn't believe it. I honestly couldn't believe it. It has been 44 years since the last time we won. And I couldn't believe it. We had some good streaks with some good performers that we were gonna end high, but never really first. First was a new one. And I couldn't believe it because it's been one of my wishes to visit the Eurovision Song Contest live, so actually visit the show. But yeah, the tickets for the show are pretty pricey. Having to travel to another country. All in all, it was something that I kept putting off. And last Saturday, the final was there. We went through to the final, so that was a relief. And by the time the final started, we had according to the bookies, a 50% chance of winning. That we were gonna get 50% of the votes. And the next country only had 12%. So that was insane. And I actually landed on Saturday evening. So being a huge fan, my friend isn't. I told her, oh, we need to be back by the car by 11 because then I'll turn on the radio and we'll listen to it while we drive back home, and then I can see the votes when I'm home. So we did. Not all songs were that good, but that's also the charm of Eurovision Song Contest. And then the voting. And first votes, we got 12 points from Portugal. Thank you, Portugal. And then it didn't go as I expected. The first scores are the judges' scores, so professionals that vote on the song and the performance and everything else. And we did all right. I think most countries gave us some points, but not that many 12 points. And 12 points is the maximum of points you can get. And it was nerve-wracking. So by the time the judges' scores were over, we were ranked third. Quite far behind the North Macedonia song and Sweden, if I'm correct. But then the public votes had to come in. Oh, and it was nerve-wracking. It was nerve-wracking. So they started with the country that got the last, ended up last with the judges, and then they would get their points from the public, large fashion. So there were a lot of shifts going on, and by the time only the Netherlands, Sweden, Northern Macedonia hadn't had their points. Italy was in the lead with a lovely song, and it was nerve-wracking because we needed a lot of points to pass Italy, but it was still possible. And then Sweden was up, and Sweden is one of the countries that normally get a lot of points. They always bring a solid song to the contest. They won a couple of years in a row, well, not in a row, but close together. So yeah, it was nerve-wracking. And then we got our points, and we passed Italy by, I must say, 40. I'm doing it out of my head. We passed them by 40 points. So we were in the lead, knowing that North Macedonia was going to get their points, and Sweden. And then North Macedonia, they got a lot of points from the judges, and she really, really deserved it because I really love the song. It is something that I would listen to personally. I really loved her, the message in the song. It was about women being strong, and you guys know I'm a feminist at heart. So yeah, the song resonated with me. The lyrics resonated with me. So she deserved the spot she was in. But to be quite honest, we wanted to win. We wanted to win. Because it has been 44 years. 44 years. That means that most of the people watching now, being a fan, were not even born yet. And that's the time when there was only judges voting. No public voting. So a long, long time ago. And Northern Macedonia, the song didn't resonate with most of the public. So they didn't really get a lot of points from the public. And then we were only 2 left. We still in the lead, and Sweden still needing to get their points from the public. And they needed 254 points to pass us. And that sounds like an insane amount of points, but yeah, they changed the voting, the scoring system, so you can get a lot of points. So we were. I think I almost bit off my nails. I didn't, trust me, I didn't, but it was nerve-wracking, and then they kept saying, and they were postponing, and they were building up the tension, and oh, it seems like it lasted for an eternity. And then they only got 93, and I think I jumped up and started screaming. So happy, so happy. It is amazing that we actually, well, he actually did it. He did it. He won. And next year, the contest is going to be in the Netherlands. So I'm definitely going to be trying to get some tickets to see the show live. But, oh man, I had tears in my eyes. I was so happy. I couldn't sleep. It was insane, and it was the perfect ending to my awesome vacation. So I'll tell you about that, but it's been insane. It's been crazy, and I really, really hope that we can keep it up with good songs, good singers, and see where it leads us. But this was history. And if you want to see the song that won, just go on YouTube. You're already on it, so go to the search bar and type in arcade, like the arcade kids play at, and Duncan Lawrence or Eurovision 2019 winner, and you'll find Duncan Lawrence's song. And you can see why we won this year. It is so much fun to watch. It is a bit crazy, but well, we're Europeans. I think we are a bit crazy, but we're Europeans, and we have Australia. Australia is also joining us in the series, and they did send an awesome song, great stage performance. So to all my Aussie listeners, I really liked your song, and Kate did an amazing job. But sorry you didn't win. We did! Yay! Yes, I'm sorry, a bit crazy today. But let's go to my holiday. So yeah, I had a lot of shifts leading up to my holiday. I came out of a night shift, meaning I didn't really get to do a lot of organizing during my night shifts because I'm just too bumped. My brain isn't functioning normally. So cleaning up, doing all the things that I should do It's always a bit hard. And then I had 5 shifts after that. And yeah, my brain was fried. So actually we had to be in the car at 4:45 in the morning. 4:45 in the morning. Yep, not my finest moment of the day. And by the time it was 11, I had finally packed my luggage. So not a lot of sleep. And then also there was the semi-finals of the Champions League, the soccer. Unfortunately, Ajax lost that one. I'm not a big soccer fan, but I'm kind of obligated to like Ajax, which is one of the larger Dutch soccer clubs, and my sister and my family are huge fans. So yeah, but they unfortunately lost, and it was, I think, heartbreaking for my sister. And they did really well, but oh well. So I had to get up at 4 in the morning. Well, it wasn't really going the way I planned. Nothing was working. I still had to pack all my soaps and shampoos and stuff, and yeah, that wasn't really working. It wasn't going the way I wanted to. So I actually was a bit late at my friend's place, but we were on time at the airport. I got a cup of coffee, I got some pounds. So the pound as in the UK's monetary unit, because I always like having some cash at hand when I'm traveling, just in case my credit card or bank card does not work. It's always a bit of a hassle. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Oh well. So we landed in Scotland at 9, let's say 8:30 in the morning. We were out with our bags a little bit after 9, and then we had to pick up our car. And then something not so fun happened. It turned out that the phones wouldn't work. We decided on navigating with the phones, and then the woman at the desk told us, well, where you're going, in some places there isn't any cell service, so you won't be able to navigate with your phone. So I would advise upgrading your car, which means that the car just got extremely expensive, but we did get a very nice SUV, very large. Yes, you always want a very large car when you're gonna drive on the left side, so the wrong side of the road, for the first time in your life. That's a great idea. But well, it was a lovely car, and we drove away from the company, and my friend was driving because I was actually shitting my pants. Excuse my language. I was so scared. So I told her, well, you can drive first, and I'll drive when there's a little bit less traffic, because in Edinburgh it is a bit busy, and I didn't want to do that. Wreck the car in like the first few miles after the company. No, not the best idea. So we started driving. We went up north to Inverness, and as you all know, I'm a big fan of the Outlander series. So we went up there, and we took the touristic mountain roads. Another great idea, since, for those of you who don't know, the Netherlands is flat. We don't have any mountains. We don't do hills. So that's also a bit challenging. But well, everything went fine. It was a lovely drive, and somewhere on the top of the mountain we decided to flip places, and I was gonna drive. And we switched somewhere close to Inverness again, so she would drive in the city because I was too scared to do that. But everything went quite alright. We didn't drive on the right side, except for when we left the parking lot, like 5 seconds after we picked up the car, and we almost hit a bus. As in, my friend saw the bus and she panicked, and out of her reflex she steered to the right, what would be the normal way for us to try and divert oncoming traffic. Go to the right. Well, there on the right was the bus. But luckily the bus driver was used to people steering right, so he kinda expected it. So everything went all right. We had some issues with being a large car and having some strange feeling when you see a car attack you on the wrong side of the road. So we tended to go a lot to the left, a bit too much. So I was actually sitting on the left side in the car, and I was like, just a tiny bit to the right. Why? You're almost hitting the car. You're almost hitting the parked cars. Car, bushes. You're off the road. Help! That's about how it went. Luckily, I didn't freak out too much. And by the time I was driving, my friend actually realized that what I was talking about. So she said, okay, yes, you're good. Bit more to the right. So she actually understood why I was freaking out in the car. We didn't have a fight over it at all. So we arrived in Inverness, a lovely town. It was a bit gloomy out, we had a bit of clouds hanging over. It was a bit windy, but everything was well, nothing too major, no extreme weather. So we're Dutch, we can manage some drizzle. That's no issue for us. And we had a lovely room in a B&B, and we ended up having 2 beds, and being the weather pretty good, I decided, I'll take the single bed, and she could have the bed, the double, and that would be fine. It turned out that my bed didn't have any, it had a cover, but that was very thin, not very warm, and I ended up having a cold combined with the air conditioning in the airplane. I always end up sniffly the first few days, but this time I had a cold so bad that by the time the next morning we were on Culloden Moor, I was actually shivering constantly, even though I was wearing a wool jacket, scarves. I had wool things to cover my hands, and I was shivering, sneezing, coughing. It was horrible, and that actually kept up for a couple of days. So we went to bed quite early that day. We saw a lot of things on the first day, and it was still a bit not perfect weather, but yeah, Scottish weather you would expect. Some rain, some sunshine, changing quickly. We saw a lot of things. We found out that most of the roads up in the north were single track roads. So imagine us sitting in a huge car, and that's huge for European standards, and for our standards we both drive a pretty small car, which is very convenient in the Netherlands because we don't have a lot of space. But yeah, a small car, driving in a huge car, and then having single track roads where you have oncoming traffic as well. And apparently you can drive 60 miles an hour on single track roads where you can't see any further than the next curve. insane, simply insane. Um, it was fun, and we communicated very well together. Go left, go right, go up, go down. Went perfectly. Um, so we managed to not hit anything. And by that time we were used to the car, so that also helped. Um, and we were getting along quite nicely. I had my first haggis on the second day, which was a Saturday, and on Sunday we had a picnic at Loch Ness while we were driving south to Fort William, and we hadn't booked anything there, so it was also looking at trying to find a B&B to stay. And apparently there was an event in Fort William, so a lot of B&Bs were booked, but we were lucky enough to find one fairly close to the city center. A lovely lady there, Norma, and she told us, "Oh, you haven't had full Scottish breakfast? Yes, I'll make it for you in the morning. You need a lot of energy if you're gonna walk." And yeah, so kind, such a lovely woman. And she saw me sniffling. She said, "Oh, I'll turn up the heat." And by turning up the heat, guys, it was so warm in that house. It was insane. It was extremely warm, and we both thought, "Oh no, please don't." But she already turned on the heat, so we actually slept with the window open just to get some fresh air in, because it was hot. Yeah, and I picked up some supplies to work with the fever and the sniffling and everything that comes with having a cold. Wonderful day. The next day, luckily for me, we didn't have that much plans. So we went to the Jacobite train, also known as the Harry Potter train. Yes, I'm a huge fan, you guys know that. So I actually took the Harry Potter train over the bridge, which is featured in the movies. I saw the island that was used in the Harry Potter movies for the burial site of Dumbledore, and I was just so happy that I could sit and not do anything. So yeah, it was a good day just to get back on my feet, not getting just trying to get better. And I picked up a tiny crochet kit. I'm still saying crochet, why? I picked up a cross stitch kit of a heraldic thistle. So the thistle is this symbol of Scotland. I picked up that one. I thought it would be fun because I was losing my mind not crafting. And so we actually, in the evening, we had a few drinks, we had lovely dinner, and we ended up going home pretty early, but in all fairness we were up pretty early as well. And I did some cross stitching in bed, and my friend also picked up a little kit of poppies. So yeah, we both cross stitched, living on the edge on the holiday, but it was good, and it was good to kind of get better, get over my cold, and then we would do all the fun stuff later. So nothing wrong there. The day afterwards I actually was feeling a lot better. Still had some cold spells where I was shivering, but it was getting better, and we had a traveling day, a pretty long traveling day ahead, where we were going to go to the Isle of Skye from Fort William and then by road. But first we were gonna climb the Ben Nevis, which is the largest mountain in Scotland. And we already decided at front van, well, we're not gonna go all the way to the top. We don't have the time for that. So we're gonna go halfway. There's a lake. We'll go there and then we return. And it was a lovely trip. It was a lot of fun. There were gorgeous little flowers there. You see where I'm going? Gorgeous little flowers. So I picked some. Trust me, I didn't take too much, so I didn't ruin the ecosystem there. But just enough so I could try some. And then we went up to Isle of Skye. We stopped on a couple of places just to have a picnic, to enjoy the sun, but because by that time the weather was perfect. 20 degrees Celsius, lovely sun, no clouds. Great day, just a great day, and that weather continued. We saw our first bagpipe player that day, and then we took the bridge to Skye. And if you guys know, the title song for Outlander is actually about a woman who took the boat to Skye. So of course I wasn't driving, but by the time we were crossing the boat, I was filming and singing the title song. Still a bit hoarse from coughing all 4 days, so it wasn't my best singing, but it was fun. And we went up there. We actually had a bit trouble finding the we decided, my friend wanted to go horseback riding, and we decided we would try to find a place close to there, and but we couldn't find it at all, and we ended up way out of the path we decided on where to stay. And we were so lucky because we found a lovely woman on the end of the road, great view on one of the sea inlets there. And they had a lovely room. They served breakfast, amazing breakfast. I was having a food baby like all the time in Scotland. It was insane. The food baby's gone by now, good part. But they served a lovely breakfast of fresh made pancakes with some fresh fruit compote, some cream as well, toast, eggs, everything, and amazing, amazing. And we really enjoyed our stay there, only for one night, and the next day we actually, with the help of the people of the B&B, we found the horse riding thingy company, and then she said, well, you can't be over 6 stone, I think she called it. No idea what it was, but it turned out that I was exactly on point. With me being quite tall, I'm for those of you who saw my pictures, I'm pretty thin, but my friend has some weight on me, let's put it like that, and I thought it was horrible when I stepped on the scale, and I actually just was allowed to ride a horse for the safety and health of the animals. So the idea is good, but I was just allowed, and we kind of both knew that she was not going to be allowed to sit on the horse. So that was not a fun moment, but we decided, oh well, if we can't go horseback riding, we'll take the car and we'll just drive around Isle of Skye and stop along the way. We had some things we wanted to see. First up was the Fairy Glen. and it was a lovely, lovely sight. Great nature. That was the most fun part of the entire trip. That wherever you went, nature changed constantly. Um, so we saw a lot just by driving, and it was amazing nature. But the fairy glens were very pretty. Um, I did some magical parking, as in one of the tires wasn't even touching the ground, but somehow the car stood on its place. Um, yep, a special talent for me. But then there was a lot of hills and outcrops of mountains, and for those of you who have been with me for a while, I have quite a terrible scare of heights. But then there was some spot, and I really wanted to get up there and get a real nice overview of the fairy glens. So I actually climbed up there, and I was so proud of myself because I would have never done that in a million years. But I did, and it went pretty good. And I actually wasn't scared at all. So, yay me for fighting my fears. After that, we drove up. We saw a lot of nature again, a lot of sheep, and we had a running joke by the time we were in Isle of Skye, because you had signs around the streets or roads saying, "Watch out for the ducks, watch out for the squirrels, watch out for the deer, sheep, cow," whatever you want to, whatever kind of animal you could think of, there was a sign for it. They even had "watch out for the elderly." So we had good fun about that, and the running joke was that each time we saw one of those signs, we were definitely not going to see that animal, but we were going to see something else. So we actually almost hit a deer when we were looking for sheep. And then 2 miles after that, we saw the sign, "Watch out for the deers." Yeah. We didn't hit the deer. It passed the car before us, in front of us, and we. It was strange seeing the deer come out of nowhere. So it was fun. We had a good laugh about it, but by that time we had a lot of "watch out for the cow." Signs, and we didn't see any cows. We did see a lot of sheep in the middle of the street. So that made it a bit difficult driving, but it was fun. We saw amazing views over the sea. It was a bit windy, but the weather was good. So yeah, we enjoyed our trip there. And by that time we were like, what we're gonna do? Are we gonna take the ferry back to the mainland, because that's on the other side of the island, or are we gonna go and take the road again? And we decided on taking the ferry, so we drove to the south part of the island. Not a lot of tours there, not a lot of B&Bs. So we ended up somewhere on a hill in the middle of nowhere, with a lovely couple that, when they heard that we hadn't booked the ferry crossing, phoned to the ferry company, reserved a spot for us, earliest opportunity, said, "Oh, then we'll do breakfast for you early." And they gave us directions to the best restaurant nearby. They were extremely lovely, and they actually, in the morning, they made us breakfast with fresh scones. Fresh scones for breakfast. amazing, lovely. We were with 2. They made us 10 scones. 10 scones for the 2 of us. And even though I love breakfast, that's a lot. That's even a lot for me. So by the time they actually realized that we were not gonna finish everything, he actually packed the scones for us and said, well, then you'll have a good lunch today. So we got fresh scones with butter and jam, and they waved us off, and they were so kind. And I think finding those B&Bs that aren't on any booking sites we saw was just a joy. So we drove around to the south. We wanted to see Glencoe and Glenteef. And at Glencoe there's been a lot of filming for the Outlander series as well, so we stopped there, we took some pictures, and then it turned out that we didn't really plan our trip that well, so we had to drive back a long way, and we were both getting cranky because we had been in the car since 8 in the morning. We had seen a lot, but yeah, not that. By the time it was 4, we were done driving. Let's put it like that. And we decided on, you know what, we're gonna look for a place to stay, and we're gonna do Devil's Pulpit in the morning, and then we'll drive to Edinburgh because that's where we were heading. And when we were booking everything, we looked at some cottages, small houses on campsites just for a night or 2, but you couldn't book them for a single night. And then near Loch Lomond, which is one of the Scottish national parks, we actually saw one of those tiny cabin parks in the distance, and we said, you know what, we're just gonna try it. So 15 minutes before their reception closed, we ended up there. They had 1 cabin left, teeny tiny cabin with a pull down bed, and yeah, we took it. It was such fun. We actually decided on cooking ourselves because we had a little kitchen there, and we decided to make pie. You know, the pie, they were pre-cooked, so we just had to heat it so the dough would firm up, and yeah, it looked like something simple. We would have soup, we would have a lot of wine, and we would have fun. That was the plan. Turned out a bit different because apparently the oven was a bit smaller than we anticipated, so we were trying to cook our pie in the oven, and it was nearly done, and we were sitting outside having a laugh, and we both heard whoosh. And I'm not kidding, that was exactly the sound that we heard. For me being closest to the door, so I stood up. I thought, oh, well, maybe something's wrong with the oven. Well, there was something wrong with the oven, as in the pie was on fire, meaning blazing fire. So I actually opened the oven, started blowing at the fire. Yes, very, very smart response. Then I decided to on stopping the fire by turning off the gas to the oven, which was also a good idea. And my friend in the back was, ooh, 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 it's on fire, it's on fire. So if eventually there was not a lot of smoke, it was just on fire out of the blue. So we actually managed to get it out without any damage to the cabin. And the pie was cooked, it was warm, so we took off the burnt part, the top, and we ate the rest of it, and then everything went well. But we had a good laugh about my first response to seeing fire blowing. Yeah, We had a good laugh about it. It wasn't my finest moment, but we found out that we worked really well as a team. So yeah, we're very proud of that. And since we'd been in the car with each other for 7 days by that time, we hadn't had any major arguments. So yeah, pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. We were very happy with that, and the next morning we drove up to the Devil's Pulpit, in which they also filmed some of the Outlander series, and that's a gorge, and down at the bottom there's a little stream going, and it's wonderful, and it's amazing to look at. The only problem is there isn't really a path, there isn't really a touristic spot, so we decided to go down on the part that wasn't that steep. Well, it didn't look that steep, but turned out it was pretty loose soil, mud, so it was a bit slippery. I ended up with a lovely brown butt from sliding down on my butt, but we did get down unharmed, and we took some amazing pictures. We had to climb up out again, so we did a lot of climbing, and it was something that wasn't really touristic, and that was good as well. Then we had some second breakfast, lunch, and we ended up in Edinburgh. And Edinburgh was fine, but after an entire week of amazing nature, it's a bit of a bummer. The hotel wasn't that good. It was alright, everything was alright, but being spoiled with freshly baked scones, especially for you, and all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah, you have high expectations, and they weren't met, but oh well, everything was fine. We had our whiskey experience there. Turns out I'm a big fan of whiskey, so we had some whiskey, we had a lovely dinner, and the second day we actually walked around, did some sightseeing, but by that time we were done looking at old castles, old houses, yeah, so we decided on having an early dinner and then doing an escape room, just the two of us, and it turns out that we're actually a pretty good team in that as well, because we listened to each other and we communicated well, and the girl was pretty impressed that we managed to get out with just the two of us, because normally the escape room has an escape rate of 52%, and smaller groups tend to have it a bit more difficult because she had a lot of things to do. So she was really impressed, and we really enjoyed the diversion of not being constantly just lunch, having a drink, walking. So it was a good diversion from all the things we had done in the days before. And the day after we were gonna leave back home, but then Scottish weather kicked in, so it was raining, it was gloomy, and we both did not feel like being in the city all day. So we actually picked up the car and we drove up to this tiny town just north of Edinburgh, where they filmed a lot of scenes in Outlander, and we went there. We enjoyed the scenery there. It was a good drive. We had fun. Had some lovely lunch at a place where we were the only ones in the entire restaurant, but it was good. We had a lot of fun, and yeah, then we went home. Flight was good. Nothing was wrong with the car, which was also, I was very pleased with that, because having to pay for the damage on the car would not have been good. So yeah, we had a lovely holiday. I would definitely go back to Scotland and do a lot more walking. I really enjoyed nature there, and with our planning, we were in most places just 1 or 2 days, and there was so much to see, so much to do in trekking, that I would really want to go back and stay some spots longer. It's people were kind. We had some good laughs. We really enjoyed the holiday. So yeah, that's a good thing. And then we got back on Saturday, watched them win, had to work on Monday, so the entire Sunday was spent with talking to my neighbors, who were upset that I hadn't notified them that I was going on a holiday. I actually found my mailbox shoved full. I hardly could open it. There was one diamond painting in there, 2 other packages, and my regular mail, and 1 other diamond painting was delivered to my neighbors. So yeah, it was insane the amount of mail I had. Did some cleaning up, and yeah, then back into the saddle. Had some two crazy shifts, extremely busy, but it was all good. It was all good. I'm just glad I can diamond paint again. It might sound crazy, but I really miss diamond painting. And then on the holiday, well, a bit previously to the holiday, I saw Rachel Ray unbox the lovely, sorry, just needed to sneeze a bit. Oh, and if you don't know, I sneeze silently. I saw the lovely Rachel Ray unbox those flowers, those huge flowers. And for those of you who don't know, I own those exact same flowers, but in a smaller size. And we decided to work on it at the same time. She already started, but hers is used. Mine is only 30 by 40. So yeah, that's the one I'm gonna work on next. And I decided on a little series. I know I still need to do my craft crochet, cross stitch and needle fell thing. I know I still need to do it. I'm gonna do it. Don't know when, but I'm gonna do it. But I first wanted to do another series about Wish. And you guys know I'm not a real big fan of Wish. The things I got in the past weren't that great. But I decided on giving them a second chance and ordering larger, more expensive canvases from them. And seeing how they would fare. Seeing if I got them all on time. So I got 2 in already. I haven't opened them. I won't until I have all the canvases from Wish. And then I'm gonna do a little series, which is gonna be in a while because I've had a lot of unboxings lately. I haven't even edited half of them yet. So yeah, it's gonna be in a while, but then we're gonna do a Wish series on some larger canvases that are a bit more expensive than the ones you would normally get on Wish. But trying to see if their quality if you go for the larger canvases, is decent. If you're not a big fan of AliExpress, which I can't imagine, but if you aren't, maybe you like Wish better. So yeah, I'm gonna do that series next, and we'll see. And of course, when I get my elephant done, which hopefully will be today, I'll post the post review soon. Maybe this Friday, maybe next week's Friday. But we'll see. And yeah, there's a lot of things to do, but I really hope to get this diamond painting done today. I'm gonna visit my grandma tonight, have dinner at my parents' place, and then go visit my grandma to talk about my holiday, because she's always wondering how everything went. So I'll show her I'm still alive, that I haven't died in a car crash yet. We still have some time, but no, I'm gonna see her. I'm gonna talk with her, show her some pictures. Sorry, mumbling again. And yeah, that's the plan for today. And so I hope that with this almost hour-long video, I kind of made up for missing a week. I hope. You know, I love you guys. I've been trying to catch up on some of your videos. For those of you who have a channel, yes, I'm really trying to catch up, but there's been a lot of things happening in the last weeks, and with everything happening in my life, it's been quite hard to keep up with all the videos you guys put out. So I'm trying to catch up with those, and I actually joined a site in which I can listen to audiobooks, because they're fun and they have the Outlander series. So I'm gonna listen to Outlander in a while. So yeah, with all of that said, I really hope you enjoyed listening to my holiday tales, vacation tales, and I really hope you'll join me for my next video, which most likely will be there on Monday, but maybe next Friday there will be one as well. If you did like it, give me a thumbs up. If you've been to Scotland and you think I missed something, let me know in the comment section below, because I'm definitely going back there one day, someday. Don't know when yet, but let me know. I'll try to remember it. And if you want to, give me a like, subscribe if you haven't already. And normally I'm pretty good at responding to all your comments, but it's been so busy that I'm a bit behind. So I'm gonna try to do that today to get through my responses to my last drill with me and all the other stuff that I missed. Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been crazy, but it's been wonderful. So thank you all for watching, and I really hope you got some work done on your project. And I will see you in my next video. Happy drilling!